Kian's ship hovered above the blue and purple planet, its engines humming softly. He had been sent on a routine mission to explore uncharted worlds. But this planet felt different from the others. Something in the atmosphere gave him a sense of anticipation, like the air itself was alive. As he guided the ship toward a safe landing zone near a sparkling river, Kian noticed unusual structures in the distance. They looked delicate yet strong, like glass towers twisted into elegant spirals. He had never seen architecture like this before. He adjusted the ship's controls and prepared to land. The ground beneath his feet was soft but firm, with grass that shimmered under the planet's twin suns. Kian stepped out of the ship, taking in the alien landscape. Birds or something like birds flew overhead, leaving trails of glowing particles behind them. The air smelled faintly sweet, like honey and rain mixed together. Kian was careful. As he walked toward the nearest structure, a tall spire that seemed to hum with energy, suddenly, he heard a commotion ahead. Alien voices shouted in a language he didn't understand, and he saw a group of small alien creatures struggling to escape a collapsing bridge. Rocks were falling, and water was flooding rapidly toward them. Without thinking, Kian ran. He reached the creatures just as a massive rock began to fall. Using all his strength, he pushed them out of the way. The rock hit the ground with a thunderous crash, sending dust and debris into the air. The creatures were safe, trembling but alive. From the top of the bridge, a figure appeared, a young alien woman with silver hair and eyes that glowed like amber. She watched silently, her hands trembling. Kian looked up at her. She was beautiful, but there was something else, authority, and a kind of sadness hidden behind her gaze. "You saved them," she said in perfect galactic common, the universal language. Her voice was clear, calm, but tinged with surprise. "No one has ever dared to do that. I just did what I could," Kian replied, brushing dust from his uniform. It was the right thing to do. The alien woman descended from the bridge with graceful steps. Her clothes shimmered like the river nearby, flowing and light. "I'm Princess Nira," she said, bowing slightly. "I do not usually meet humans. Here, I did not expect one to appear, and to act with such courage." Kian felt a mix of admiration and nervousness. He had studied alien customs before, but meeting a real princess was different from reading about it. "I'm Kian," he said. "I'm an explorer. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I was just passing by." Nira tilted her head, studying him. "Passing by?" she asked, her voice soft. "No human has ever ventured so far. You are brave, or foolish." Kian chuckled lightly, trying to hide his unease. Maybe a little of both. There was a pause. The princess's golden eyes seemed to pierce into him, as if she could see his thoughts. Kian felt a strange warmth in his chest, a connection he could not explain. Nira's expression softened slightly, though she quickly composed herself. "You have unusual instincts," she said. "Most would have stayed away. Most would have watched and done nothing. But you helped. That is rare." Kian shrugged. "I believe everyone deserves help when they need it. I just act." Nira's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Perhaps that is why I feel something I cannot name." She shook her head, as if to dispel the thought, then looked around. "Come, human, you must rest. This world is dangerous, even for those who know it well." Kian followed her through winding paths lined with glowing plants. The forest around them seemed alive, shimmering with colors he could not name. Strange animals peeked from behind the trees, curious but cautious. Finally, they reached a small clearing. A floating platform hovered above the ground, glowing faintly. Nira gestured toward it. "This will be your place for now. Safe, but not entirely. I do not fully trust my own people yet. You are a stranger." Kian stepped onto the platform, feeling it lift slightly off the ground. "Thank you," he said. I don't know how to repay your kindness." Nira's gaze lingered on him for a moment longer than expected. "You do not need to repay me," she said. "But I feel you are not like others. I want to see if you will survive what comes next." Before Kian could ask what she meant, a loud roar echoed from the forest. Trees shook violently, and the ground trembled. Kian instinctively drew his blaster. Scanning the shadows, Nira's eyes glowed brighter. and she extended her hand. A wave of energy shot from her palm, creating a shield around them. The creature that emerged was massive, with 6 legs and sharp, glowing claws. Its eyes were a deep violet, and it growled in a language Kian could not understand. It lunged toward them, but Nira's shield held strong. "Do not be afraid," she said calmly. "It is testing us, perhaps testing you." Kian tightened his grip on his weapon, heart racing. "Testing me," he repeated. "Your actions will show if you are worthy," Nira replied. Her voice was steady, but there was an unspoken excitement in it, a thrill that made Kian's pulse quicken. The creature roared again and slammed into the shield. The force knocked Kian back slightly, but he stood firm. He glanced at Nira, seeing her energy flare as she pushed the creature back. She was powerful, but she also seemed relieved that he stood by her side, ready to act. When the creature finally retreated into the forest, Nira lowered her hands. She turned to Kian, her eyes glowing softly. "You survived your first challenge," she said, almost with pride. "Few humans would have. You have courage and a sharp mind. Perhaps you are different from what I expected." Kian smiled, feeling a mix of relief and curiosity. "I guess I'll have to keep proving that, then." Nira laughed quietly. "Sound like wind through crystal trees, perhaps. Or perhaps I will have to learn to trust someone like you, despite my instincts." For a moment, they simply looked at each other, two strangers from different worlds, bound together by circumstance and a shared moment of danger. Kian felt a spark of something new, a sense of purpose, and perhaps the beginning of a friendship, unlike any he had known before. As night fell over the alien world, the twin suns disappearing behind distant mountains, Kian realized that this mission meant to be routine was anything but ordinary. And somehow, he felt that meeting Princess Nira was only the start of something far greater than he could imagine. The next morning, Kian woke to the soft hum of the floating platform. Light filtered through the shimmering leaves outside, painting the area in gentle purples and blues. He rubbed his eyes and looked around. Princess Nira was already standing at the edge, gazing into the forest with a serious expression. "You slept well?" she asked, without turning. Her voice was calm, but there was an intensity that made Kian pay attention. "I did," he said, standing up and stretching. "The air here, it's different, feels alive." Nira finally turned to him, her amber eyes sharp and thoughtful. "It is alive," she said. "This forest has watched over my people for generations. It responds to actions, sometimes slowly, sometimes immediately. That is why we must be careful." Kian nodded, trying to absorb her words. He had studied alien environments, but nothing prepared him for a living, conscious forest. "And the creature yesterday," he asked, "was it wild?" Nira shook her head. "Not exactly. It was a test, one of many. You survived, which proves your courage and quick thinking. But surviving is not enough. You must also learn to act with wisdom." Before Kian could reply, Nira turned and motioned toward a small clearing ahead. There, an unusual pedestal glowed with a soft blue light. On it rested a crystal artifact, humming with energy. "This is why I summon you," she said. "An enemy has stolen part of our kingdom's power. This artifact, if it falls into the wrong hands, it could harm many worlds. I need your help to retrieve it." Kian stepped closer, studying the crystal. "I'm just one human," he said. "Why me? Surely you have your own guards and soldiers." Nira's gaze softened slightly. "Many can fight. Few can think clearly under pressure. Humans, you act differently. You rely on reasoning, improvisation, and courage. That is why I chose you." Kian felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. "All right, tell me what we need to do." Nira smiled faintly. "We must travel to the Shadow Vale. It is a dangerous place, filled with creatures and traps. Only those with skill and quick minds can navigate it. We leave at once." They set off, moving through the forest that seemed to shimmer with life. Every step they took made the grass bend gently beneath their feet, and strange lights flickered in the distance like tiny stars. Kian kept his senses alert, scanning for movement while trying to take in the beauty around him. Hours into their journey, They reached the edge of the shadow veil. Dark clouds swirled overhead, and the air felt thick and heavy. Strange sounds echoed from the valley below, howls, screeches, and whispers that made Kian's skin tingle. "This is it," Nira said. "The veil tests more than strength. It tests judgment, courage, and trust. Stay close to me and watch carefully. The environment will change according to your actions." Kian nodded, gripping his tools and blaster tightly. He followed Nira as she moved gracefully across the rocky terrain. Suddenly, the ground shifted. Beneath them, a hidden trap, a pit lined with glowing crystals, opened up where Kian had been about to step. He stopped just in time, realizing that the veil reacted to his movements. "It's alive," he whispered. And Ira nodded. "It senses intent and confidence. Hesitation can be dangerous. Trust your instincts." They continued carefully, helping each other navigate the traps. At one point, a swarm of small, winged creatures attacked. Kian quickly analyzed their movement patterns and created a diversion, drawing them away from Nira. She responded with a wave of energy, sending the swarm fleeing into the sky. "Impressive," she said, watching him. "Most would panic." Kian smiled, feeling his confidence grow. "I guess humans can adapt fast when needed." As they ventured deeper, they reached a chasm. Across the gap lay a pedestal holding another glowing fragment of the stolen artifact. Kian studied the space between them. The rocks looked unstable, and the wind whipped around them fiercely. Nira extended her hand, creating a bridge of energy that shimmered like glass. "Cross carefully," she said. "I will support you if needed." Kian stepped onto the bridge, feeling it shift slightly under his weight. He kept his balance, remembering Nira's advice to trust his instincts. Halfway across, a gust of wind threatened to push him off. He braced himself and moved forward, heart racing. On the other side, he picked up the fragment and examined it. It pulsed with power, humming softly. "Got it," he said, turning to Nira. She nodded, her eyes glowing brighter. "Good. Now we must leave before the veil shifts again. It does not like intruders lingering." As they made their way back, Kian noticed something different about Nira. She moved closer to him at times, not out of necessity, but as if seeking reassurance. He felt a strange connection, though he did not understand it yet. Suddenly, from the shadows, a large creature lunged at them. Its body was long and serpentine, covered in dark scales. Its eyes glowed red, and it hissed as it attacked. Kian acted immediately, using his blaster to distract it while Nira used energy waves to defend them. Working together, they forced the creature back into the shadows. Both were breathing heavily, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Nira looked at Kian, a flicker of admiration and something else, something deeper peering in her eyes. "You are remarkable, human," she said, her voice soft, almost a whisper. Kian shook his head, trying to hide his own excitement. "You're not so bad yourself, princess." They reached the edge of the forest as the sun began to set, painting the sky with colors Kian had never seen. The fragment was safe, and for the first time, Kian felt that he was not just a visitor, he was part of something greater. Nira stopped and looked at him carefully. "Today, you showed bravery, intelligence, and trust. Few beings can manage all three. You are different. I feel something I have not felt before, and it scares me." Kian looked at her, curiosity and warmth in his chest. "Scares you?" he asked. She nodded, looking away briefly before meeting his eyes again. "Yes, I am a princess. I must remain careful, restrained. Yet, when you act, when you think, I cannot help but feel a connection. It is unusual and powerful." Kian smiled gently. "I don't know what this connection is, but I know it feels important. We're on the same side, Nira. Whatever comes next, we face it together." Nira's lips curved into a small, almost shy smile. "Perhaps, together, we can achieve more than either of us imagine." As night fell over the alien forest, the two stood side by side, looking at the stars. The adventure had only just begun, and Kian felt a sense of excitement and purpose he had never experienced before. The world was vast, full of unknown dangers, but for the first time, he felt that he had a companion he could trust completely. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the beginning of something extraordinary, something that neither human nor alien had ever experienced before. After their first successful mission together, Kian and Princess Nira returned to her palace. The structure gleamed under the light of twin moons, a mix of elegant glass towers and natural formations that seemed alive. Kian felt awe and curiosity as he followed Nira through winding paths filled with floating lanterns and plants that glowed softly. This palace, it's incredible, Kian said, glancing around. I've never seen anything like it. Nira smiled faintly. It is a reflection of our people. We value balance, beauty, and harmony. Every part of this palace has meaning. As they walked through the halls, Nira explained some of her culture. We respect courage, wisdom, and honor. But we also value connection and understanding. Humans, you have qualities that surprise me. You act with heart and reason, sometimes at the same time. That is rare. Kian listened intently. He had studied alien civilizations, but experiencing it firsthand was different. He admired how thoughtful and intentional everything seemed. I try to do what feels right, he said. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Nira laughed softly, a sound like wind through crystal towers. Yes, but humans often act boldly when others hesitate. That is admirable. Later, Nira led Kian to a garden filled with glowing flowers that responded to touch. As Kian stepped carefully among them, he noticed the petals opening slightly as he walked. This is amazing, he said. Even the plants seem alive in a way I've never seen. They are, Nira said. Our world responds to life. Everything is connected. We learn from it, and it learns from us. Kian nodded, feeling a deeper sense of respect for her people. I think humans could learn from this. We take so much for granted. Nira looked at him thoughtfully. Perhaps, but humans have strengths. We do not. Ingenuity, courage, adaptability. You saved lives in the Veil because you acted differently than any of my people would have. That impressed me. For a moment, they walked in silence, enjoying the beauty around them. Kian noticed how Nira seemed more relaxed than he had ever seen her. Her usual composure was still there, but now there was curiosity and warmth in her expression. I want to show you something, Nira said suddenly, leading him to a circular chamber filled with holographic images of her world. Rivers, mountains, cities, and forests rotated slowly around them. This is our history, she explained, our triumphs, our struggles, our culture. I want you to understand where I come from. Kian studied the images carefully. It's incredible. Your people have achieved so much, and you carry all of this responsibility as a princess. Nira's expression softened. Yes, it is not always easy, but I must learn to balance duty with my own desires. That is often the hardest part. Kian looked at her, noticing the flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. You don't have to face it alone, he said quietly. I may be just a human, but I can help. I can stand by your side. For a moment, Nira hesitated. Her usual calm was gone, replaced by a conflicted emotion. She wanted to trust him fully, but caution held her back. Yet, she found herself drawn to him more than she expected. You are different, she admitted softly. Most would not offer support without reason. You offer it freely. That is unusual. Kian smiled. I believe everyone deserves a chance to do what's right, and I trust you. Nira, that's why I'm here. They spent the evening sharing stories. Kian spoke of human adventures, exploration, and ingenuity, while Nira told tales of her people's history, discoveries, and the challenges of ruling. Each story deepened their understanding of each other. At one point, Nira showed Kian a practice room where young nobles trained in strategy and combat. I want you to see how we prepare for challenges, she explained. Even royalty must be ready. Kian watched as young aliens moved with precise, elegant motions. He admired their skill, but noticed they lacked the flexibility and creativity he had relied on in the Veil. I guess humans solve problems differently, he said. Yes, Nira replied. Your method's unpredictable, yet effective. That is why you surprised the Veil. That is why I cannot stop thinking about you. Kian felt a warmth in his chest. He understood the feeling and admiration that went beyond simple respect. He had never imagined an alien princess could feel this way, and it intrigued him. Thinking about me, he asked, teasing lightly. Nira's cheeks flushed slightly, though she tried to hide it. I am careful, she said. But when you act, when you think, I feel a connection. It is difficult to explain. Kian nodded. I feel it too. Maybe it's just that we understand each other in a way others don't. They spent the night under the twin moons, sitting in the palace garden, stars reflected in the glowing flowers around them. Kian realized he had never felt such peace and excitement at the same time. Nira, on the other hand, felt her restraint slipping. She admired Kian's courage, his kindness, and the way he saw the world. The night was quiet, but the sense of anticipation was strong. Both knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges. Kian had proven his skill in the Veil, but the galaxy was vast and full of dangers. And Nira, she had begun to feel emotions she could no longer completely control. I trust you, Kian, she whispered as they watched the stars. And perhaps that is dangerous, but I cannot hide it anymore. Kian smiled gently. We'll face whatever comes together. I promise. For the first time, they both felt a bond that went beyond duty, beyond mission, a bond of trust, understanding, and mutual admiration. It was subtle, yet powerful spark that could grow into something extraordinary if nurtured. As the palace hummed softly around them, they looked out at the stars together, knowing that their journey had only just begun. Danger and adventure awaited, but they were ready, and somewhere deep inside, both of them realized that their connection might be the key to surviving the challenges ahead. The next morning, the palace was quiet. Kian and Princess Nira had been resting after their journey through the Veil, but a sense of unease lingered, even in the beauty of the palace. Shadows seemed to shift in ways that made Nira's amber eyes narrow with suspicion. Kian, she said, her voice low but urgent, I feel something is coming. My people have sensed disturbances near the northern border. We must be ready. Kian adjusted his gear and nodded. I'm ready. Whatever comes, we face it together. As they moved toward the northern towers, a sudden alarm rang through the palace. Loud sirens echoed off the walls, accompanied by flashing lights. Kian's heart raced. What's happening? He asked. Nira's expression hardened. They have come. The Shadow Clan has attacked. Before Kian could process the words, a wave of alien soldiers stormed into the courtyard. Their armor was dark and spiked, their weapons crackling with dangerous energy. The Shadow Clan had been one of Nira's greatest rivals for years, and they clearly wanted the artifact and the palace itself. Kian and Nira exchanged a brief glance. No words were needed. They had trained, prepared, and trusted each other. It was time to act. The battle began immediately. Kian ducked behind a crystal pillar as energy blasts streaked past him. He aimed his blaster at an advancing soldier, calculating the angle carefully, and fired. The blast hit the ground near the enemy, causing them to stumble back. Nira raised her hands, releasing waves of glowing energy that pushed multiple attackers away. The light from her powers illuminated the courtyard, revealing the sheer size of the invading force. Kian moved quickly, using his knowledge of human tactics to outmaneuver the attackers. He noticed a weak point in their formation and shouted to Nira, if we push them here, we can trap them near the wall. Nira's eyes glowed brighter as she followed his plan. Combining her energy powers with Kian's strategy, together, they created a barrier that funneled the enemy soldiers into a narrow corridor. The attackers struggled, confused by the combined human and alien tactics. You think too quickly for your kind, one of Nira's advisors said in astonishment. Humans rarely adapt so fast. Kian smiled slightly, focusing on the fight. Sometimes you have to think differently to survive. Despite their efforts, the Shadow Clan was relentless. A large warrior charged toward Nira, swinging a weapon that could pierce her shield. Kian acted instinctively. He leapt in front of her, using his body as a shield while firing at the attacker's weak points. The enemy stumbled, giving Nira enough time to release a concentrated blast of energy, sending the warrior flying backward. Nira's eyes softened as she looked at Kian. You are remarkable. Few would risk themselves so freely. Kian shrugged, adrenaline pumping through him. I trust you, and I couldn't let them hurt you. The battle raged on, but their teamwork proved unstoppable. Kian's ingenuity and quick thinking, combined with Nira's powers, created a force that the Shadow Clan could not easily overcome. Slowly, the invaders were pushed back, retreating toward the forest beyond the palace walls. After the last enemy disappeared, the courtyard was quiet except for the soft hum of the palace and the heavy breathing of its defenders. Kian lowered his blaster and wiped sweat from his brow. We did it, he said. Nira approached him, her usual calm returning, though her eyes held an unusual warmth. Yes, thanks to you. You were brave, clever, and unafraid. I have never met anyone like you, Kian. Kian felt his chest tighten. He had heard praise before, but coming from Nira, it felt different, honest, sincere, and deeply personal. I just did what needed to be done, he said, looking away slightly. She stepped closer, her presence strong but comforting. It was more than that. You risked yourself for me and my people. That is rare, extraordinary. Kian finally met her gaze, and for the first time, he noticed a flicker of emotion he could not name. Nira's amber eyes were bright, almost glowing in the fading light. She looked at him as if trying to decide something, and Kian felt a strange thrill run through him. Princess, he said softly, we make a good team. I think, together, we can handle anything. Nira nodded slowly, her hands lowering from their defensive stance. Perhaps, together. That is what I feel, and yet it frightens me. I am not used to letting anyone so close. Kian smiled gently. You don't have to be afraid with me. I will stand by your side, always. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, the noise of battle replaced by the quiet hum of trust and understanding. Nira felt a strange sense of relief and unfamiliar, but welcome feeling. Kian, too, realized that he was not just a visitor or soldier. He was part of something larger now. The palace advisors approached, bowing deeply. Princess Nira, your actions and the humans' courage saved many lives today, one said. Nira inclined her head, then looked at Kian. Yes, she said softly. And you have proven that humans can be more than what many think. You are remarkable. Kian felt warmth in his chest, but he also understood the gravity of the moment. The Shadow Clan would return, and the galaxy was full of unknown threats. But he also knew something else. He had gained an ally, a friend, and perhaps something more. And Princess Nira. As night fell over the palace, the twin moons casting soft light over the courtyard, Kian and Nira stood side by side. They had faced danger, fought together, and emerged victorious. More than that, they had begun to understand each other in ways that went beyond words. The adventure was far from over. The galaxy was full of unknown challenges, and the Shadow Clan would not give up easily. But Kian and Nira had formed a bond, one that combined courage, intellect, and trust together. They were unstoppable. Nira's voice broke the silence. Kian, I cannot restrain myself from thinking of what we can achieve together. You have changed my perspective. Humans, perhaps you are the key to more than I imagined. Kian smiled, feeling both excitement and responsibility. Then let's see what we can do together. No challenge is too great. They looked out over the palace grounds, the stars twinkling above. Kian felt a surge of determination. For the first time, he realized that humans could rise to challenges no one else thought possible. And with Nira by his side, anything seemed achievable. The palace was calm the morning after the Shadow Clan attack. But Kian and Princess Nira knew that danger was still out there. The stolen artifact had not been fully recovered, and its power could threaten many worlds if misused. Nira had made a plan, and Kian was ready to follow her wherever it led. We leave at dawn, Nira said as they prepared to board a small spacecraft stationed near the palace gardens. Her amber eyes held focus and a flicker of something softer, a hint of trust and curiosity toward Kian. Kian adjusted his gear, feeling the excitement he always did before a mission. But this time it was different. He felt a connection with Nira, a bond that went beyond mission and duty. I'm ready, he said. They lifted off quietly, the twin moons fading behind them. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly in all directions. The galaxy seemed alive, and Kian felt the familiar thrill of adventure. Yet, beside him, Nira was more than just a companion. She was a partner in thought and action, and perhaps something more. Their destination was the Outer Rim, where the Shadow Clan had hidden part of the stolen artifact in a small asteroid colony. Nira piloted the spacecraft with graceful precision, while Kian observed the navigation systems. Calculating the safest route. Hours into the journey, Nira spoke softly. Kian, yesterday, in the courtyard, your actions saved many lives. Not just by skill, but by instinct. You're remarkable. I cannot ignore it. Kian looked at her, curiosity and warmth rising in his chest. You mean more than that? He asked cautiously. She nodded, her gaze focused on the stars ahead. Yes, I am a princess. I am trained to control my emotions, to restrain myself. Yet, when I see you, when I witness your courage and your heart, I feel something I cannot contain. It is unusual for me and frightening. Kian reached out, placing his hand gently on hers. Nira, I feel it too. I don't fully understand it, but I know it matters. Whatever comes, we face it together. You don't have to hold back with me. Nira's eyes softened. She had never felt this kind of trust before, not from anyone. Humans were different. From her own people, and Kian's courage and sincerity had awakened something in her, perhaps. Together we can accomplish more than I imagine, she whispered. The mood shifted as they approached the asteroid colony. The structures were jagged and metallic, clinging to the surface like clusters of dark crystals. Sensors indicated movement shadows, moving quickly along the corridors, likely the Shadow Clan guards. Nira glanced at Kian. We must act carefully. They are expecting trouble, but they will not anticipate our teamwork. Kian nodded, feeling a surge of confidence. Then let's show them what humans and aliens can do together. They landed the spacecraft on a hidden platform and crept toward the main compound. Kian relied on his human instincts to anticipate traps, while Nira used her energy powers to detect hidden dangers. They moved as one, silent and precise. Suddenly, a patrol approached. Kian whispered, I'll distract them. You move toward the artifact. Nira's eyes glowed as she nodded. Be careful. Kian stepped into the open, firing a controlled energy burst to knock the guards off balance. The sound drew attention, and the patrol ran toward him. Nira slid past undetected, her movement smooth and confident. Inside the chamber, the artifact fragment pulsed with power. Nira reached for it, but an alarm blared and an automated defense system activated, and energy barriers shot up around the room. Kian burst in just in time, ducking under a blast and rolling toward the controls. Hold on, he shouted. Using quick logic, he manipulated the console, disabling the barriers. Nira retrieved the fragment and handed it to him. You're incredible, she said, her eyes shining. Kian smiled, catching his breath. We make a good team. I couldn't have done it without you. As they prepared to leave, the Shadow Clan leader appeared, a tall, armored figure radiating authority and menace. You dare enter my domain, he growled. Nira stepped forward, her energy powers flaring. We take back what belongs to the people. You will not succeed. Kian felt a surge of determination. We fight together, he said firmly. You won't win. The battle was intense. Kian used his ingenuity to exploit weaknesses in the leader's armor, while Nira unleashed precise energy blasts. Working together, they outmaneuvered him, forcing him to retreat into the shadows. When the battle ended, they stood victorious, holding the recovered artifact fragments. Kian looked at Nira, noticing her expression, relief, pride, and a faint, unspoken emotion that made his heart race. You were brave, clever, and fearless. Nira said softly, I cannot restrain myself anymore. I feel a connection I cannot ignore. Kian, I trust you completely. Kian reached out and gently held her hand. I feel it too, and I promise, no matter what comes, I will stand by you, always. For a moment, they stood silently, hands joined. gazing at the stars through the chamber's transparent roof. The galaxy stretched endlessly above them, full of mysteries and adventures waiting to be explored, and together they felt ready to face anything. This mission, it was more than recovering an artifact, Kian said, smiling. It showed me that humans can rise to challenges no one expects, and that trust can be powerful. Nira nodded, a small smile forming. Yes, and perhaps humans are more extraordinary than I ever imagined. The two shared a quiet laugh, the tension of battle replaced by a sense of companionship and understanding. For the first time, they felt equal not just as ally and princess, but as partners, ready to face the galaxy together. As they prepared to return to the palace, Kian looked out at the stars. The journey had shown him that courage, intelligence, and trust could overcome any obstacle, and with Nira by his side, he felt unstoppable. Nira glanced at him, her expression soft and sincere. Kian, whatever happens next, I want you to know, I am glad you are with me. Kian smiled. I feel the same, Nira. Together, we can face anything. With the recovered artifact safely secured, they boarded the spacecraft and lifted off. Into the starry expanse, the galaxy stretched before them, full of challenges, dangers, and wonders. And as the twin moons of her planet disappeared behind them, both Kian and Nira knew one thing for certain. Whatever awaited them, they would face it together, united in courage, trust, and something more than either had ever expected. The night was quiet as Kian and Princess Nira prepared for the final confrontation. The Shadow Clan, though weakened by their previous encounters, had gathered their strongest forces. Intelligence reports indicated they were hiding on a remote asteroid base, fortified with traps, weapons, and elite guards. We must be precise, Nira said, standing at the edge of the spacecraft's observation deck. Her amber eyes glowed with determination. The Shadow Clan is dangerous, and we cannot underestimate them. Every move must be calculated. Kian nodded, checking his gear one last time. We've faced challenges before, but this one, it will test everything we've learned. We need strategy, trust, and courage. Nira turned to him, her expression softening. And you have all three, Kian. That is why I trust you completely. Together, we can succeed. They landed silently on the asteroid base, hidden in the shadows of jagged rocks. The base was large and imposing, with walls that shimmered under the dim light of distant stars. Kian and Nira moved carefully, avoiding patrols and scanning for traps. This place, it's alive, Kian whispered. Sensors indicate movement even where there shouldn't be. It's like the base responds to intruders. Nira nodded. Yes, the Shadow Clan uses energy from the asteroid itself to power their defenses. We must be cautious, but not slow. Hesitation could be deadly. They advanced through narrow corridors, using shadows and debris for cover. Suddenly, a squad of elite guards appeared, blocking their path. Kian analyzed the situation quickly, whispering a plan. Distract them first. I'll use energy to block their advance, then we move through the side corridor. Nira nodded, eyes glowing as she projected a barrier of light. Kian leapt forward, creating diversions with carefully aimed shots, sending the guards scrambling. They slipped past the main group, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Finally, they reached the central chamber, the heart of the Shadow Clan base. There, the leader waited, surrounded by elite guards and an energy field that pulsed like a living heartbeat. You dare enter my domain again? The leader growled, his voice echoing through the chamber. This ends now. Nira stepped forward, energy radiating from her hands. We end this today. You cannot continue to threaten my people or the galaxy. Kian positioned himself strategically, analyzing the leader's defenses. We take him together. He said, I'll create openings, you strike at the right moments. The battle began. The leader unleashed powerful energy blasts, sending guards scattering. Nira deflected attacks, creating barriers and countering with precise strikes. Kian moved quickly, exploiting gaps in the enemy's armor. Using his human ingenuity to anticipate attacks, the leader roared, charging directly at them. Kian ducked and rolled, firing a calculated shot that disrupted the leader's energy shield. Nira seized the moment, releasing a concentrated beam of energy that struck the leader directly, sending him sprawling backward. "You are persistent," the leader growled, struggling to stand. "But you cannot defeat me." Kian stepped forward, steady and confident. Persistence and strategy win where raw power fails. "You underestimated humans and Nira's strength." Nira joined him, her hands glowing brightly. Together, they unleashed a coordinated attack, Kian's precision and strategy guiding Nira's raw power. The leader tried to counter, but the combination was too strong. With a final surge, they disabled his energy field, forcing him to surrender. The elite guards fled, and the base fell silent. Kian and Nira stood together, breathing heavily but victorious. The stolen artifact fragments were secure, and the Shadow Clan had been defeated for now. Nira looked at Kian, her amber eyes shining. You were extraordinary, Kian. Your courage, your quick thinking, and your trust in me. Few beings could have done this." Kian smiled, feeling a mix of relief and pride. "We did it together. I couldn't have done it without you." For a moment, they simply stood in the central chamber, hands close but not touching, sharing a quiet moment after the chaos of battle. Kian realized that their bond had grown stronger, built on trust, courage, and mutual respect. Nira took a deep breath. "Kian, all my life, I have been trained to restrain my emotions, to maintain control. But with you, I cannot. You inspire me. You make me feel more than I thought possible." Kian reached out, gently holding her hand. "I feel the same. You've shown me a world beyond imagination, and a friendship. No, a connection that I cannot ignore. I trust you completely, Nira." Her eyes softened, and a small smile appeared. "Then perhaps, together, we can create more than victory. We can create trust, respect, and maybe something even stronger." Kian smiled back, heart racing. "Yes, and whatever challenges come next, we face them side by side." They retrieved the last artifact fragment and secured it in the spacecraft. As they lifted off the asteroid base, leaving the Shadow Clan behind, the stars stretched endlessly before them. Victory was theirs, but Kian knew that the galaxy still held unknown dangers. Yet, with Nira by his side, he felt unstoppable. Nira looked at him, her expression calm but filled with warmth. "Kian, you have changed my world, not just by strength or skill, but by your courage, heart, and trust. I cannot deny it anymore. You are extraordinary." Kian felt a warmth in his chest. "And you, Nira, have shown me that courage, intelligence, and heart can overcome anything. Together, we can face the galaxy, no matter what comes." They held hands as the spacecraft soared through the stars, leaving the asteroid base behind. The adventure had tested them, challenged them, and strengthened their bond. The Shadow Clan was defeated, but the galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and wonders. And Kian and Nira were ready together, united in courage, trust, and something more than either had expected. As the twin moons of her planet glimmered in the distance, Nira whispered softly, "Kian, thank you for everything." Kian squeezed her hand gently. "No, thank you, Nira, for showing me what it means to trust, to act, and to believe. Together, we are stronger than anything." The stars stretched endlessly before them, and for the first time, both Kian and Nira realized something important. This was only the beginning. Their bond, their courage, and their trust could shape the future not just for them, but for the galaxy itself. The journey back to Princess Nira's palace was calm. Kian and Nira sat side by side in the spacecraft, the recovered artifact fragments secure, and the Shadow Clan finally defeated. Stars stretched endlessly around them, and for the first time since their adventure began, both felt a sense of peace. Nira broke the silence, her voice soft. "Kian, we did it. The artifact is safe. My people are protected, and the Shadow Clan will no longer threaten us for now." Kian smiled, glancing at her. "We did it together. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Your courage and skill, and your trust in me, made all the difference." Nira looked down briefly, her amber eyes thoughtful. I never thought I could feel this way about a human, about someone who is not part of my world. But you have shown me bravery, intelligence, and kindness I have never seen before. I cannot deny it anymore. Kian reached out, gently holding her hand. Nira, I feel the same. You've shown me a world I never imagined, a people I admire, and a connection that means more to me than I can say. Whatever the future holds, I want to face it with you. Her eyes softened, and a small smile appeared. Together, then, she whispered. The spacecraft descended toward the palace, floating above the gardens bathed in soft moonlight. As they landed, palace guards and advisors came out to greet them. Cheers echoed through the halls, celebrating the return of the princess and the human who had fought by her side. Kian and Nira stepped onto the palace grounds. Nira's people looked at him with curiosity and admiration, some whispering about the courage of humans. Kian bowed politely, feeling honored by their recognition, yet focused on Nira. Your people are remarkable, he said, and you are extraordinary, Nira. Nira's cheeks flushed slightly. You have brought a new perspective to us, Kian. Humans, you are different, and yet I admire you more than I can express. The palace celebration was grand, but Kian and Nira found a quiet moment alone in the garden. The glowing plants swayed gently in the night breeze, creating a peaceful sanctuary after the chaos of battle. I never imagined a mission could lead to all this, Kian said, looking at the stars. Danger, adventure, and friendship. Maybe something more. Nira stepped closer. Yes, I have lived my life with rules and restraint. But with you, I feel freedom. I feel trust. I feel joy. And that is something I cannot ignore. Kian took a deep breath. Nira, I promise. No matter what comes, I will stand by your side. We face the galaxy together, as partners, as friends, and whatever else this connection between us might be. She looked at him, amber eyes shining with warmth and admiration. Then I will not restrain myself anymore. Together, we will face everything, and perhaps we will create something new, not just for us, but for both our worlds. The next day, they walked through the palace corridors, greeted by smiles and nods from Nira's people. Kian noticed the respect and admiration in their eyes, not only for the princess but for him as well. It was a reminder that courage and trust could cross worlds and cultures, uniting beings in ways no one could predict. Later, in a private chamber overlooking the palace gardens, Nira spoke softly. Kian, I have realized something. Humans are extraordinary not because of raw power, but because of courage, ingenuity, and heart. You have all of these and more. That is why I trust you and why I care for you deeply. Kian felt a warmth spread through him, and I care for you, Nira, more than I ever thought possible. You've shown me bravery, wisdom, and kindness. Beyond imagination, together, we can face anything galaxy-wide challenges, threats, or adventures we cannot yet see. Nira smiled, reaching out to take his hand. Then let us begin a new chapter, Kian. Not as princess and visitor, but as partners, as equals, as friends, perhaps even more. Kian squeezed her hand gently. Yes, Nira. Together, as the twin moons rose high in the sky, their light reflecting off the palace towers, both felt a sense of hope and purpose. They had faced danger, defeated enemies, and protected countless lives. But more importantly, they had discovered a bond that crossed worlds, a bond built on trust, courage, and mutual respect. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but Kian and Nira knew they were ready. Their connection, tested in battle and strengthened through trust, gave them confidence that no challenge was too great. Later, in the quiet of the palace gardens, Kian looked at Nira and smiled. Whatever adventures come next, we will face them together. That is certain. Nira returned the smile, her amber eyes filled with warmth. Yes, Kian, together. And perhaps we will inspire others to trust, to act courageously, and to see the potential in beings they once underestimated. They stood side by side, looking out over the palace gardens and the glowing city beyond. Stars shimmered overhead, promising endless possibilities. and for the first time, both felt a deep certainty their journey was only the beginning. The galaxy was wide, full of adventure, but together they could rise to any challenge. The human and the alien princess united in courage, trust, and hope looked at the stars, ready to embrace whatever came next. In that moment, Ken realized something he had known all along. Humans could rise to extraordinary challenges, and with trust, courage, and connection, even the impossible was achievable. And Nira, she had shown him that even a princess from another world could find freedom, joy, and trust when the right companion stood beside her. Hand in hand, they stepped forward, leaving the past battles behind and walking toward a future full of possibilities together.